Hello and welcome back to Hestia's Muse, podcast for astrological devotionals. My name is Liliana Blackstar, and I am here to bring you a spiritual devotional of self-discovery and personal growth that is in some way inspired by astrology. Join me to tune into astrological transits and the Wheel of the Year for inspiration in your greatest task in life, to know yourself. Hello and welcome back. We're going to talk about another tarot card and its association with the astrological sign of Scorpio. Are you ready? We're going to talk about the Seven of Cups. So, each of the tarot cards are in some way associated with an astrological sign, a decan, a season, or a planet. The Seven of Cups is associated with the third decan of Scorpio. This is the section of Scorpio that spans from 20 degrees through the end of the 29th degree, so the final third of the sign of Scorpio. And this segment of the zodiac is subruled by Venus. As you know, each sign is ruled by a planet, and then each decan is also subruled by a planet. So you can think of the decan ruler as a shift manager. The entire sign of Scorpio is ruled by Mars, and the final 10 degrees of Scorpio are subruled by Venus. So you can think of this section of the zodiac as Venusian in nature. Therefore, you could interpret the Seven of Cups as having a Venus influence, or to represent Venus in Scorpio. Venus does not have to be in Scorpio for this card to be relevant. It's not only about Venus in Scorpio. It's a Venus card with a Scorpio vibe, if that makes sense. So it can help to think of Venus as influencing this section of the zodiac, that third decan of Scorpio, and that wherever Venus is in the chart is going to influence whatever other planets are in this third decan of Scorpio. So the Seven of Cups generally shows a person looking up at these clouds, and the clouds hold these 7 cups that are floating in the sky, and each cup has something different in it. There's a wide range of choices being offered, and you get the feeling that the person looking at the cups might seem unsure of which cup to choose, or maybe they're a little overwhelmed with all of these choices. So keywords and concepts for the Seven of Cups are choices, creative potential, confusion, decision-making, dreams, emotional complexity, escapism, illusions, imagination, options, possibilities, reflection, temptation, and vision. So the Seven of Cups in the tarot represents an array of diverse possibilities, dreams, and choices. This card symbolizes a moment of decision-making amid a whole bunch of options. And perhaps these options are being presented to you not necessarily physically or outwardly, but they are internal. They are emotional options. They are things that you have intuitively felt, or perhaps things you have dreamed about, or just a sense of knowing or feeling that you have a choice. It can be direct options in front of you, but the thing that makes the options so complex is that you're having very strong feelings about them, or you've had visions or dreams, or getting an intuition about it. So it also suggests a time of imagination, fantasies, and the potential for wish fulfillment, right? Sometimes the choices are so complicated because we are fantasizing and dreaming about so many potential outcomes, right? We are dreaming about all of the different things that might come to be if we take this path, but we don't really know if that's what the path is going to bring us. We're just like fantasizing about it. So this card can carry a cautionary note about the importance of discernment and focus in the face of all of these choices. The Seven of Cups invites you to explore your many desires, dreams, and aspirations, but it advises against becoming overwhelmed by illusions or getting lost in impractical fantasies. You can see in the card how one could very easily just get swept up in the daydream feeling or the fantasy, right? So we have to remember when we get this card that there's probably a message about being cautious and giving time for thoughtful consideration of all the available options. You want to have a balance between like the allure of all of these possibilities and what your desires are versus the need for grounded decision making. Both being grounded and following your intuition are going to help you manifest your true desires. But you're not going to manifest everything you want just by only following your intuition or by only making logical choices. There has to be some kind of balance between those two. So let's talk about how this card relates to Venus. In astrology, Venus represents the planet of love, beauty, and harmony. Named after the Roman goddess of love, Venus influences how we express affection, form relationships, and appreciate aesthetics. It really just relates to what we like, and the things that we like are the things that we are going to try to get more of. We're going to try to manifest more of the things that we like, right? So when you're attracted to something, you're going to be drawn to it. You're going to try to get it. You're going to reach for it in some way. You're not generally going to go out trying to manifest something that you don't find enjoyable and pleasurable, right? So Venus governs our desires for pleasure, connection, emotional fulfillment, and it influences both romantic and social aspects of our lives. Venus also relates to our aesthetic preferences, so our appreciation for art, beauty, and the finer things in life. What you find beautiful, what you find comforting, what you find delicious is going to be related to Venus in your birth chart and related to the transits of Venus through the sky on a regular basis. So Venus's placement in the chart can offer insights into our approaches on love, personal values, and the qualities that we find attractive in others. Overall, Venus holds a key position in shaping the way that we navigate the realms of emotion, connection, and appreciation for beauty in all of life. So this card specifically is relating to the energy of Venus in Scorpio. When Venus, the planet of love and beauty, moves into the deep and intense waters of Scorpio, it's really bringing about a period of profound and transformative emotional experiences. Relationships might take on more profound, soul-stirring qualities. People are generally maybe more willing or desiring to be more authentic and more diving into the emotional depths. unveiling hidden truths and experiencing connection that is very profound and transformative. Venus in Scorpio doesn't want just surface level relationships. It wants something deep, profound, and transformative. So the transit of Venus in Scorpio encourages individuals to embrace the complexity of their feelings, which in turn fosters intimacy and connection on a deeper level when you can embrace how complex and deep your own emotions are and recognize that other people have very deep, complex emotions too. Then in turn, hopefully you can become more vulnerable and intimate with people, and then therefore connect on a really deep soul level. So the energy of Venus in Scorpio can bring forth these really intense emotions and a yearning for this profound connection. And it can challenge people to navigate the shadows of love, right? The shadows relating to the parts of love that we don't necessarily look at. Scorpio has a way of really embracing that shadow and enjoying it, and Venus brings more attraction to exploring like the shadow realm. So it's going to encourage people to face like their really deep desires and want to forge these really deep, genuine connections, and also to experience the regenerative power of love's transformative journey. Like, love can transform us. When you have been in a really deep, intimate relationship with someone, it has such power to just change you, right? You're not the same after that. Even if that relationship ends, you still changed and regenerated in some way through that experience. So the energy of Venus in Scorpio also relates to like becoming fascinated or drawn to this sensual and darker or more complex aspect of life. So since Venus relates to art and aesthetics, this period, it can encourage an exploration of artistic expression that delves into the complexities of human experience, and really like the art that moves you on a really deep soul level, the art that maybe depicts something that's not like beautiful in the classic sense of beauty, but it's beautiful in the sense that it's depicting something powerful. It's depicting something maybe dark, but true. So Venus in Scorpio really enjoys that type of experience that is like, okay, it's not traditionally beautiful, but it's beautiful because it's profound. It's beautiful because it triggers some kind of transformation or change. And it's beautiful because it's maybe a dark part of life that we don't normally talk about. So when we're willing to put it forward through art or expression, it's a really beautiful thing. So there also can be, I think, with Venus in Scorpio, a allure or attraction to exploring life's mysteries, such as occult secrets, taboo practices, sexual kinks, and the study of mystery or depth. So Scorpio is really the archetype that relates to a lot of taboo stuff, the stuff that is hidden or that we don't generally talk about out in public very much. And Venus, being the planet of attraction, when it combines with the Scorpio energy, it makes us attracted to these deeper, mysterious, hidden parts of life. or these taboo parts of life, or sexual kinks, occult stuff, taboo, just all the stuff that people don't normally want to talk about in, quote, polite society, right? But Venus in Scorpio, or the combination of Scorpio energy with Venus, can really begin to appreciate these macabre parts of life as beautiful. Like death and decay is a part of life, and Venus can maybe see the beauty in it. Sex is a part of life, and sometimes it's not necessarily like pretty, the way that it's depicted just on regular TV. But there's something beautiful there to Venus combined with Scorpio energy that's like there's rawness, there's realness, there is an intimacy that is really profound, right? So when we want to look at the Seven of Cups, we want to think about this energy of Venus combining with Scorpio. So Venus is about desire, and Scorpio is about depth and profound change and the parts of life that are hidden or secret. So together, Venus and Scorpio create a really strong desire for deep change through the complexities of human desires, and these cravings make it difficult to know what kind of change is best for us at any given time. The image on the Seven of Cups gives a sense of temptation, and temptation is one of the key words for this card. Some of the cups may hold fortune, some may hold love, others hold secrets of occult and mystical powers. Some of the cups may hold disaster, ruin, or death. All of the cups come at a price, though the price may be unseen and unknown for some time. So it reminds me of like television award games where someone is given the option to choose between many doors, and they don't know what is behind each door. Is it a new car? Is it a luxury vacation? Is it nothing? Sometimes the door that the contestant chooses causes them to double all of their prior winnings, and sometimes the door might cause them to lose all their prior winnings. So there's a sense of gambling here, and I see that sense of gamble with this card too. Like, here are all of these really crazy choices, but you don't really know what those choices are. Like, the symbolism of these things in those cups, some of them seem obvious, some of them seem less obvious. It's not an easy choice because you don't really know what the outcome of choosing that cup is going to be. You can kind of guess and you can kind of use your intuition, but you really don't know what you're going to get when you choose one of those cups. So Venus is the planet of desire, and not all of our desires are healthy, right? Sometimes we crave things that are not good for us. And Scorpio is a sign of intensity, depth, and transformation. So the choice isn't always obvious. We know that we want change and transformation, but we don't know if us craving this transformation is for our greater good or not, right? We are faced with the choice of listening to our intuition and our emotions, or making the choice more based on logic. But even if we go with logic, the choice isn't always obvious, right? Like these cups in the card, what does it mean when there is a cup that it has a snake coming out of it? Like, what does that mean to your intuition and to your logic? And what if it's something totally different and your intuition and your logic were totally off base? So the choice isn't always obvious, and I have heard it reminds me also of like fairy tale stories of someone choosing the pleasant looking path, but they end up in ruin, and the person who chooses the dangerous path ends up with a deeper success that had even been dreamed of, right? But even that's not 100%. We don't know just, oh, choose the opposite thing. That doesn't work either. So the desire for change is sometimes so strong that we are willing to take risks and we're willing to take a gamble that we will get the best possible outcome. It does not always work out that way, and sometimes the gamble doesn't pay off and we lose or suffer. Sometimes we win, right? So the Seven of Cups indicates this time that we're faced with these choices. The thing that we choose may bring us rewards and great pleasure, or we may choose a path that ends up bringing more suffering and sorrow. However, no matter which cup that we choose, all of them are going to bring change and deep soul level transformation. This is a Scorpio card, and just keeping in mind that no matter what someone chooses at this point, they're going to have a Scorpio experience. They're going to experience some kind of transformation or change. You will not be the same after you make this choice, so you best choose carefully. So anytime that you draw this card in a tarot reading, you might wish to consider the energy of Venus and the energy of Scorpio as you interpret the meaning. I've come up with some questions that you could ask yourself for journaling or for further divination with this card. Feel free to pause after each question so that you can write it down for later. What is my most intense desire at this time? How do I deal with strong cravings, addictions, or desires for things that I know might harm me? What kind of gambler am I? Or how am I with taking risks? What am I drawn to or attracted to that is considered to be dark, taboo, or off limits? What in my life currently feels like it needs a big change? What am I willing to risk to obtain my greatest desire? Can I trust my intuition? Or am I able to apply logic, discernment, and intuition in this situation? The times that this card is going to be astrologically relevant is any time that Venus is in Scorpio at any degree. If you were born with Venus in Scorpio, then this card has a very personal meaning for you and can represent some of your personal life lessons. This card could also be relevant when any planet is moving through the third decan of Scorpio. So when any planet is going through from 19 degrees through the end of the 29th degree of Scorpio, the last 10 degrees. And in your birth chart, if you have any personal planets in the third decan of Scorpio, any personal planets in those last 10 degrees of Scorpio, this card will hold relevance for your life based on what planet is there and what house it's in, etc. And by personal planets, I mean anything that is close enough to be seen by the naked eye. So Saturn and Jupiter are kind of included, but especially Mars, Venus, Mercury, Moon, or Sun. And I wouldn't really worry too much about the outer planets here, but you can also look at them too if you do have an outer planet in the 3rd degree decan of Scorpio, just to see if that has some lessons and relevance for you also. So we have been going through a time, at the time of this recording, the sun has been in the 3rd decan of Scorpio for like the past 10 days, or 9 days at this point, and it is getting ready to leave this decan. I had a really transformative experience of my own with some big changes and a big choice that I had to make, so I am a little later putting up this or making this recording than I wanted to be, but I was definitely having a 7 of Cups experience in my own life, as the sun and Mars have both been moving through this final decan of Scorpio season. So it's really interesting to pay attention and see how these cards manifest in our daily life, as well as just paying attention to see how they show up in your life at other times too. If you draw this card, you know, don't be like, well, I don't have any planets in the 3rd decan of Scorpio, so this card doesn't mean anything for me. That's not how this works. Like, we all go through the transits of planets through Scorpio, and sometimes you will get this card and nothing is in Scorpio when you get this card, but that doesn't mean that the card doesn't apply to Scorpio and Venus lessons. It just means wherever you are, whatever's going on in your life, think about the energy of Scorpio combined with the energy of Venus in order to really get the meat of this card, right? To really get what it's trying to tell you and what messages it might have for you. So anyways, thank you so much for tuning in again. I hope that you have enjoyed this episode. Tune in later. We're going to be moving on to the Sagittarius cards of the zodiac next. The sun is going to travel through Sagittarius, and we're going to look at the 8, 9, and 10 of Wands as the sun moves through Sagittarius. So I hope you'll come back and join me for those. You can also find me at www.hestiasmuse.net, and you can follow my Patreon, join and support to help keep me able to bring you these podcasts at www.patreon.com/HestiasMuse. All right, thanks so much. See you next time.